You ever wonder what happens when you mix hot lava and chicken?
Look at me. Sure. Look at me. Sure.
I am the Snow White now.
And so when I got to set and I saw how funny it was, I wasn't surprised. But I think audiences will be surprised.
It's the latest rallying cry for millions of moviegoers.
Chicken jockey!
Those two little words sending teenage fans of a Minecraft movie into a frenzy, resulting in screaming, popcorn throwing, and soda flying through the air. In at least one case, the police have gotten involved, escorting some of the offenders out of theaters.
And then listen to how loud it is from the outside.
Now let's get the latest on the disaster that is Disney's reimagining of Snow White.
This thing is an absolute disaster, all right? An absolute disaster. This is an absolute calamity. This is a catastrophe. This is a tragedy, an apocalypse, an accident, a fatality, a debacle. This is a casualty. This is a cataclysm, a crash, a collapse, an upheaval, a meltdown, a misfortune, Armageddon, doomsday.
Is that it can be scientifically proven. Did people wait in line to see Rachel Zegler? Well, Rachel Zegler was able to find that out herself and put it on film.
Tickets, please.
For which movie?
Why would you post this? You know, you don't have to post it. It's bad content. So this is Rachel Zegler and her dirtbag group of friends holding up popcorn and soda cups with her face on it. Why would anybody want to eat off that? I don't know. Certified too. And scowling, she's the only person in line. The guy taking the tickets doesn't know her, which is an extra added insult.
When we look, you can see families were more than willing to go to the box office to support something like the Minecraft movie, while Rachel Zegler's Snow White continues to plunge.
Its opening weekend globally got 344 million.
She's literally the only person there. And do you not understand how humiliating this is?
There's no way that Snow White is going to recover.
Rachel Zegler learned that your star can fall about as fast as it rises. Here's a photo of Rachel Zegler taken today. Okay. Looking like a complete slob. Hungover as hell. Wobbling around after Disney loses hundreds of millions of dollars and she is to blame.
Picture this. A near-empty movie theater, the faint smell of stale popcorn hanging in the air, a handful of scattered viewers staring blankly at the screen. And in the middle of this cinematic ghost town sits Rachel Zegler, the star of Disney's live-action Snow White remake, watching her own movie bomb in real time. It wasn't just a flop. It was a full-blown $270 million disaster, a train wreck of epic proportions. And the most ironic part? Zegler, who had once boasted that people would line up to see her films, was now practically the only one in the audience.
What kind of core customer base Disney has versus what Warner Brothers has right now, and exactly how each business, how each studio is doing things differently on a very wide scale.
This is not Snow White, but this is the movie that they made. And it's like, oh yeah, she's gonna be a girl boss, she's gonna liberate her kingdom. Well, congratulations, you played yourself. This is what you get when you try to push feminism and bullshit girl boss moves on the people. The people ain't rocking with it. And every time we come back to Minecraft, this number just keeps growing.
In 3 days. Okay. What does that mean? It means that in its second weekend, domestically, Minecraft is now anticipated to make more money than Snow White has entirely domestically. Every single day Snow White has been out, it has made less money than Minecraft will make this weekend.
On March 25th, 2025, Rachel Zegler, along with a few of her closest friends, decided to have a Snow White viewing party. They showed up at a nearly deserted theater, armed with their Snow White-themed popcorn buckets and souvenir cups, ready to celebrate the release of what was supposed to be Zegler's breakout role. But the celebration quickly turned into an awkward exercise in self-promotion, as Zegler and her friends attempted to generate excitement for a film that no one else seemed interested in seeing. Ilda Mason, one of Zegler's friends, documented the cringe-worthy event on her Instagram stories, capturing the empty seats, the forced enthusiasm, and the general air of awkwardness that permeated the theater. They even filmed themselves buying tickets, a pathetic attempt at viral marketing that only served to highlight the film's dismal box office performance. The ticket seller, seemingly unaware of who Zegler was, asked, "For which movie?" The irony was thick enough to cut with a knife. Disney's live-action Snow White wasn't just a disappointment, it was a financial disaster. The film debuted with a paltry $43 million, a far cry from the $95 million opening weekend of The Little Mermaid remake, and compared to Dumbo, a film with a significantly smaller budget, Snow White barely performed any better. With a production budget exceeding $250 million, plus the additional costs of marketing and distribution, this remake is on track to be one of Disney's biggest financial losses in recent history.
This movie is an absolute disaster. It is one of the biggest disasters we have ever seen. A princess joins forces with 7 dwarves and a group of rebels to liberate her kingdom from her cruel stepmother, the evil queen. What movie is this, Disney? What the hell is y'all trying to pull on us? This ain't Snow White. The box office needs it. Minecraft figured it out. They said, hey, let's just make movies for the people that's gonna come and see this movie. Yeah, I had said this yesterday. Warner Brothers is doing something unthinkable in Hollywood, listening to their audience and making money. What a concept, right? What a concept. You're actually just gonna listen to your fans and do what they ask you to do. You know, and that's all they had to do over there at Disney.
Rachel Zegler, in her pre-Snow White hubris, had boldly declared, "People will wait in line to see her." She was confident, perhaps even arrogant, in her belief that her star power would draw crowds to theaters, regardless of the film's quality. But reality, as it often does, had a way of humbling even the most self-assured celebrities. The empty theaters, the dismal ticket sales, the viral memes mocking her empty theater viewing party, it was a harsh dose of reality for the young actress. A public and humiliating reminder that even in Hollywood, hype doesn't always translate into success.
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
Weird. Okay, weird. Weird. What? I'm sorry. I mean, what?
Bob Iger is extremely incompetent. He is very stubborn as a CEO. He lies to both the shareholders and the customers, hence why I like to call him Bob Liger. And the lies continue. We know that Bob Iger is continuing to go on the damage control train related to Snow White.
And as if the box office failure wasn't bad enough, the behind-the-scenes drama surrounding Snow White only added fuel to the fire. Rumors of a feud between Rachel Zegler and her co-star Gal Gadot began to circulate, fueled by cryptic social media posts and anonymous sources whispering about on-set tensions and creative differences. Jonah Platt, son of the film's producer, Mark Platt, even publicly criticized Zegler, claiming that his father had to fly to New York to scold her for her controversial comments and their negative impact on the film's performance. This public airing of dirty laundry, this glimpse into the behind-the-scenes chaos, only added to the growing perception that the Snow White remake was a cursed production, a project plagued by problems from the very beginning.
It's the latest rallying cry for millions of moviegoers.
Chicken jockey!
Those 2 little words sending teenage fans of a Minecraft movie into a frenzy, resulting in screaming, popcorn throwing, and soda flying through the air. In at least one case, the police have gotten involved, escorting some of the offenders out of theater.
Disney's live-action Snow White was a mess from start to finish. They cast Rachel Zegler, an actress who openly disrespected the original film, calling it weird and outdated. They replaced the beloved 7 dwarfs with creepy CGI creations, sparking outrage from the dwarfism community and alienating fans of the classic animated film. And they poured a massive budget into a film that no one asked for, a film that seemed determined to lecture its audience rather than entertain them. It was a recipe for disaster, and the results were predictable, if not spectacularly bad. And the studio's response to the growing controversy only made things worse. Instead of acknowledging the fans' concerns, instead of engaging in a meaningful dialogue about their creative choices, Disney doubled down on their woke agenda, insisting that their modernized Snow White was superior to the original and dismissing anyone who disagreed as backward or out of touch. This arrogant and dismissive attitude only served to further alienate their core audience and solidify the perception that Disney no longer cared about the fans who had made them a global entertainment giant. The Snow White remake bombed at the box office, its opening weekend earnings a paltry $43 million, far below projections. Internationally, the film fared even worse, barely scraping past $44 million in its opening weekend. With a production budget of $170 million, plus tens of millions more spent on marketing, the film was on track to be one of Disney's biggest financial losses in recent history. Critics were equally unimpressed, with the film's Rotten Tomatoes score plummeting to a dismal low. Audiences who braved the theaters emerged confused, disappointed, and frankly, a little insulted. The film's disjointed plot, its heavy-handed messaging, and its bizarre creative choices left many wondering what had happened to the magic of Disney.
Man, Warner Brothers just said, why don't we just do this? Let's find out what Minecraft fans are going to be like. What do they like? What do they enjoy? And let's just throw that on the screen. Like, I mean, the critics are like ripping this movie apart. They're saying it's trash. They're saying...
Rachel Zegler's reaction to the film's failure was almost as baffling as the film itself. She posted videos of herself laughing in empty theaters, a tone-deaf and insensitive move that only fueled the online mockery. In interviews, she seemed genuinely surprised by the negative reception, unable to comprehend why audiences weren't flocking to see her modernized Snow White. She continued to defend her controversial comments about the original film, insisting that her interpretation of the character was more empowering and relevant to modern audiences. But her attempts to justify her actions, her refusal to acknowledge the validity of the criticism, only further alienated fans and solidified her image as an out-of-touch celebrity.
Disney is smart, but they're stupid at the same time because they still aren't going to connect to the fans the way they need to. Kind of like the way Minecraft did. I want y'all to check this out, man.
Disney's attempt to inject a dose of 21st century feminism into the Snow White story backfired spectacularly. The film's heavy-handed messaging, its forced girl boss narrative, and its complete dismissal of the classic love story felt preachy and inauthentic, as if the filmmakers were more concerned with ticking boxes on a woke checklist than with telling a compelling and emotionally resonant story. And the CGI dwarfs, intended to be a more inclusive representation of the characters, were widely criticized for their uncanny valley appearance and their lack of personality. The entire film felt like a missed opportunity, a cynical attempt to capitalize on a beloved classic while simultaneously stripping it of its magic and its heart.
Turned over $157 million while earning another $144 million internationally. The Minecraft video game was introduced in 2011 and sold more than 300 million copies. It actually has a fan base, user base, people that care about it. In theory, Snow White should as well. Snow White's the movie that made Disney, the studio. They should have been more cautious and careful with their own IP. It's a $1 billion IP. The Disney Snow White, faithfully adapted, would have made $1 billion.
Disney's response to the Snow White disaster was a mix of damage control and denial. They tried to downplay the controversy, issuing carefully worded statements to the press and ramping up their social media marketing efforts. But the damage was already done. The negative reviews, the dismal box office numbers, and the relentless online mockery had created a PR nightmare that Disney couldn't escape. Behind the scenes, rumors swirled about internal chaos, with reports of massive layoffs, rearranged executive teams, and future remakes being quietly shelved. It seemed as though the House of Mouse, once the undisputed king of family entertainment, was finally starting to feel the consequences of its woke agenda. The Snow White remake's failure wasn't just a financial loss for Disney, it was a reputational hit, a blow to their carefully cultivated image as purveyors of wholesome family entertainment. The film became a laughingstock, a symbol of Hollywood's out-of-touch elitism and its obsession with woke ideology. And Rachel Zegler, the actress who was supposed to be the face of Disney's reimagined princess franchise, became the face of its failure. Her controversial comments, her dismissive attitude towards the original film, and her tone-deaf response to the backlash had turned her into a PR liability, a cautionary tale for other young actors about the dangers of speaking before thinking. And the controversy surrounding the film didn't end with its theatrical release. Several countries, including Lebanon, banned Snow White from being shown in their theaters, citing concerns about the film's woke messaging and its potential to offend cultural sensibilities. This international backlash, while celebrated by some as a victory against Hollywood's cultural imperialism, also raised questions about the role of politics in entertainment and the increasing polarization of the global cultural landscape. And then there were the rumors of legal action. Whispers circulated online that Disney was considering suing certain YouTubers and critics for their negative reviews and commentary on the film, a move that would only further damage their reputation and solidify their image as a thin-skinned corporation that couldn't handle criticism. So what's the moral of this twisted fairy tale? It's simple. Respect your audience, respect your source material, and don't cast actors who openly despise the project they're being paid to promote. Disney's Snow White remake is a cautionary tale, a prime example of how good intentions, misguided by woke ideology and a lack of self-awareness, can lead to disastrous consequences. What do you think about the Snow White debacle? Was it a predictable train wreck, or could Disney have salvaged the film with a different approach? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into Hollywood hypocrisy, self-sabotage, and the unintended consequences of wokeness, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more unfiltered commentary and untold stories.